All right, today I want to talk about life. To be 100% honest, I didn't think I was going to do a life update video. I thought I was going to completely skip it and just get right into making content, but it has been a long time since I have actually uploaded videos, and I figure at the very least, when I look back on this time, I'll have some sort of explanation in video form that I can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's exactly why there was this big gap. So full disclosure up front, this is not scripted. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I'm just going to talk about life. So if it comes out a little messy, I apologize in advance. And with that, let's first talk about the footage you are seeing. So I'll mention this later on in the video, but this is page 10 from a comic that I completed in 2024 called Trailblazers Man's Mission. Some of the older viewers to this channel may recognize this. This is actually what I originally called Trailblazers Chapter 0. I since retitled it while I was working on it, and it is now complete. I wanted to show this page in particular because I like a lot of pages that I've done in this comic, but I also really like this page specifically for the storytelling techniques I implemented here. No, it is not a perfect page by any means, but it's something that I'm satisfied that I drew. And the storytelling techniques in particular that I'm talking about here are really the shift in positioning of Kent and Vi, the two main characters, as these panels progress, which kind of shows a progression. And the change in location in each three panels kind of give the indication that there is a search happening or an investigation, and that's exactly what I was trying to do with this page. Another thing I was really happy about was that this page in this storyboards was actually initially 6 pages, and I managed to compress it down to this page and the page before it, page 9, which is huge because I still got the idea of an investigation going on, but with much less pages, and I feel like the story is more concise as a result. And the other thing was this was a lot of fun to do because I got to draw Vi and Kent in different positions with different expressions and body language, and that was really instrumental in helping bring out more of their personality in this particular project. So I hope you enjoy the footage, and if you have any questions about the comic making process, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Okay, life. Where do I even begin? So I said that I actually did a life update in 2019, which is correct. I actually ended up privating that video, so it's no longer public. But the last video I did on this channel was in 2020, the end of November. At that time, I had done a 30 video challenge. Basically, I made a video every day of the month of November, which was a very good experience, actually. I liked it a lot. Will I do it again? No. I don't have the time, unfortunately, to do something that intense, and also something that, quite frankly, didn't produce the greatest quality videos. I mean, some of the videos were like 4 minutes long, and there was some videos with not a lot of talking. So I feel like I wasn't really saying anything of value. I was explaining more about myself, of course, but not really saying anything of value that I want to get across. And part of the reason why I kept those videos up is because it's a great snapshot of my mentality in 2020. So I really like that. I really like the documentation of what I was thinking. And I do agree with a lot of the things that I said back then, even today. So yeah, it's just really good to keep that as a memory. But after that, I did try to, increase my amount of sleep. I did try to get a better diet. I did try to exercise more. Well, the spoiler was it didn't really happen right away. So in 2021, I didn't really see any results of my efforts, unfortunately. And it wasn't until 2022 that I got serious about the exercise and the diet and the reduction in sugar. And that was huge because 2022 was a massive year for me. But let's go in order. So 2020 November, I'm done. Then I started going into whatever I thought I was going to do in 2020 December, which I believe was the finishing of the storyboards for Chapter 0, which is now Trailblazers Man's Mission. Because I had started the storyboards in June of 2020, and I ended up not finishing until literally December 31st, 2020. So that means that I think it was like 6, maybe 7 months if I started earlier in May. I can't actually remember. Like, that's kind of wild to me. But let's just say 6 months for the heck of it. And after that 6 months, we basically had only hit the starting line for this project, in my opinion. Once I got done the storyboards, I basically went through it with a fine-tooth comb and I axed a lot of pages. So the amount of storyboards I did was, I think, 66 for the initial project, and then I cut it down to 38 pages. This was a gradual thing, so I think the initial cut brought it down to 45 pages, and then as I was doing the pages, I realized how I could condense certain things, and that ended up making it a lot less. So then it came down to 38 pages. So this is actually a little bit shorter than a one-shot. I believe the typical one-shot is like, 45 to 60 pages long, so I was even lower than that. And I was able to tell a straightforward story, I think, in those 38 pages, which is good. It helped develop my storytelling skills. In 2021, I had like a severe artistic burnout. I don't want to call it a block because it's not like I wasn't drawing. I was drawing, but like everything about the process of this comic was put into question, and I would take long breaks in between, like struggling to find out how I wanted to proceed forward into the sketching phase. This year I did, I think, maybe 2 or 3 inked completely, and I did mostly sketches this year for the actual pages themselves. And honestly, that's all I can say for 2021. The other big thing that happened in 2021 is I ended up getting my M1 iPad Pro, which has been my steadfast companion in all things art since then. It's the 1 terabyte, 16 gigabyte model. I decked it out. I remember asking 2 of my buddies to come up with sticker designs, and I created stickers out of them myself, and then I slapped them on the back so it's personalized. And I also created my own sticker and slapped on the back in that year. So I think there was a product I created at that time, which was nice. And I think 21 might have also been the year that I created a second product, an acrylic stand of a very old design of Valoria. And I say very old because in hindsight, like it's been 4 years, the design's been changing kind of constantly in between me doing the comic. And that's the other thing. I was kind of like noodling with designs and stuff and thinking about the bigger picture of the story outside of Trailblazers Man's Mission itself. So then comes 2022. 2022 was a huge year for me. It was really big. So 2020 into 2021, not much happened. I was still kind of slow noodling through the project and kind of dabbling in other things, playing the occasional video game. But 2022 is probably my most jam-packed year of my life because so much happened in 2022. The first thing that happened was I had been working contract at my 9-to-5 for about 5 years at that point, and I ended up finally getting an offer to transition to a full-time employee, which was really big. This is something I've been hoping for a very long time. Being a full-time employee is a little bit more stable than being a contractor. There's a lot of perks to being an employee, and I was really looking forward to this. So that was a huge celebratory moment. That was early in 2022, and I was just kind of on cloud 9. What I wouldn't realize is that was also kind of like the beginning of some of the most stressful times in my life, because the moment I turned into an employee, like work has been very stressful ever since. It's not like, really anyone's fault per se. It's just that the workload has increased tremendously since then. So that's been fun to deal with. And then just a few short months after that, I ended up actually sticking to a program to join a gym, get a trainer, and really fix my diet. And I believe I started that in March of 2022, which was also a really big step for me, and it made a huge impact in my diet and my exercise. Sleep, unfortunately, is always the factor that's the hardest for me. I think my body is so scarred from only sleeping 4 to 5 hours that it's been so difficult to kind of unwind from that. Even today, like I try to get 7 hours of sleep, and oftentimes I'll stick between 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 is better than 4 to 5, but I have a long way to go before I can say I'm getting a good amount of sleep per night. Time will tell if that gets fixed, but The diet and exercise at least was finally on point in March, and I kept going basically the whole year. I lost a lot of weight, and I ended up looking good for future events. What are those future events? So in April of 2022, I met my wife, which was awesome. She was my wife then, but she became my wife, and we hit it off, and we had a good time getting to know each other. Our getting to know each other wasn't very standard, but it was still a good experience. I look back at that time very fondly, and so now I'm working out, I'm exercising, I'm getting the right nutrition, and I'm talking to a girl, and things are good. Things are really good. And then my brother ends up getting married before me, which is always a fun thing that I like thinking back on. And so for their wedding, it was a destination wedding. We ended up going to Cancun, which was a lot of fun. So there was preparation for that. And then my wedding was announced basically for January of 2023, the very beginning of January. So much was going on. Wedding planning for me, wedding planning. We weren't really involved with the wedding planning for my brother, but we just had to make sure that we showed up. We did what we needed to. We met the deadlines for, paying the fees for the travel and everything like that. Very, 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 very busy time. So much to prepare. Our wedding ended up, my wedding ended up being in India. So we had to basically also do a huge slew of preparation for that, getting visas, so on and so forth. I had to take a month off of work because we were going for quite a while, and there was quite a lot of things we still had to do when we got there. Man, looking back at it, it was all a blur. I can't believe I survived all of that. It's a lot of stuff. But it was a good experience. It was a happy time. And in 2023, I returned. January 2023, I was back in the US and still plugging along. 2022 was like the start of the inking phase for me. So when I walked into 2023, I basically had a majority of the inks done for Trailblazers Man's Mission. And so in 2023, it was basically the coloring year. I think it took the first couple months of 2023 to actually finish the inks. And then I went straight into colors. And that took me the whole year. So in 2023, I was just all about the coloring. And again, both in 2022, 2023, I was noodling. I wasn't noodling as much in 2022 because there was so much going on. So it was more like doing work. And then 2023 is like I had more focus because I wasn't doing as much. I ended up completing most of the comic by the end of 2023. I started coloring for real, I think, in August or September. So maybe I wasn't done with the inks as much as I thought, or maybe it was just taking a lot longer. But I do remember distinctly only half of the year I was doing the coloring. The coloring actually was the fastest part of this entire process, despite being the most intense for me because I had no idea what I was doing. I've never colored a comic, let alone colored this many panels or illustrations. So for me, it was like a huge, whoa, really I had to learn in the moment and kind of just get it done. That's the best way I can put it. And so in 2024, the early part of 2024, I ended up finishing the last couple pages and posting it online. So I split Trailblazers Man's Mission into 4 updates, and I uploaded each one once a month starting in October of 2023. So I started October 2023, then November, December, there was 2 parts. And then in January of 2024, the final part released. I did complete it before the 31st, obviously, 1 or 2 days before the month actually ended, but I posted it on the 31st and it was finally complete. And in between December and January, there was basically a 2-week gap because at that time, my wife and I were going on our honeymoon, which had to be delayed. Well, honeymoon on paper. We really have a second honeymoon that we're going to do. But this first honeymoon, it was basically because we were waiting for the immigration stuff to go through. She was immigrating from India to the US. We really wanted to see each other. So we ended up meeting up in Italy, which was a fantastic experience. And it was a lot of good, positive inspiration for a big fan of Italy, and in particular Venice. We actually got to visit Venice, which has been a dream of mine since I was a child, since I watched that Pokemon Heroes movie and realized that location was inspired by Venice. And I was like, yes, I need to go someday. And I did, and it was so much fun. So I came back very refreshed and very sick. The last couple of days I ended up getting sick, but recovered after a little bit. And then after that, 2024 was the emptiest year for a lot of reasons. There was a project I was working on, but unfortunately I couldn't see it through to completion because I kind of got conscious about my time horizon, or like how much time I have to be able to make things going forward. And I realized that like it's going to be difficult to manage projects that aren't mine and then projects that are mine. So I made a difficult choice. I decided, okay, I'm just going to focus on the stuff that I want to produce because my time going forward is going to be much less than what I'm normally used to. And I already noodled around when I had a lot of time. So I'm trying to mitigate my noodling, my kind of wandering and distractedness by, first decluttering, but also by making sure that I make the most of the short amount of time that I do have. After Trailblazers Man's Mission was completed, I only did a single illustration in 2024, and I have some work on the project I was working on right afterwards, which I just archived for now, and I kind of came into 2025 with a clean slate. And I did a lot of reflection and retrospective on where do I want to go, how do I want to get there, what can I do, what type of goals can I set to kind of make it to that point that I want to be at. And I think the biggest goal I have right now, and I think the most important one to me, is that I'm not at a place where I can create the things I want to do in a reasonable amount of time. For Trailblazers Man's Mission, which I completed, and I'm happy I did, but that took me 4 years to complete, and it's just for a 38-page comic. To me, that's in line with what I want to be able to do. I have a lot of ideas that I want to actually produce, both comic and otherwise, and if each comic takes even remotely the same amount of time as this one did, it's not going to be good, especially because, again, time is like a precious resource right now. So I'm trying to find a way to just get quicker and get faster, and I think that the way to get quicker and faster is just to learn more and really become a student again of art in a way that I haven't done before, that I haven't decided to get focused to before. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really going to dig into studying again and just trying to make my understanding clear and then skill up as well. And then hopefully by the end of that experience, when I tackle my next few projects, they'll go quicker, smoother, and I already have a basic understanding of the process because I've gone through it once before. So I think that'll aid the overall time. Really, like, as anyone can tell you, it's about repetition. So how many times do you go through the process? I may do like smaller projects. Before I was very not keen on it because I'm like, okay, how can you tell anything reasonable in like 5-10 pages? But it's getting to the point where that's probably going to be the mileage I need that'll help me get faster. So I'm thinking about that and a few other things here and there. But life is crazy. Life is real crazy. So currently I'm, enjoying spending time as a family man. Currently a family of 2. We'll see what the future holds. And also trying to manage all my artistic passions and creative stuff. I decluttered recently and it's been a huge weight off my shoulders. I'm really able to enjoy more of the things I own because I own less, and that's fantastic. I'm actually able to give more time and consideration to things that I really wanted to, like this YouTube channel. It's so good to be in a place where I can think about it and really just be honest and open about my thoughts, and I can document them and I can just make videos. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. So I wish that I could actually provide a link to the comic that I created so that people could give me feedback and read it. But unfortunately, in 2024, I made the decision to pull it from the internet. And the only reason why is because the site that I had created specifically to host Trailblazers Man's Mission was very expensive. I was able to afford it in the first couple years the site was up, but by 2024, like halfway through, I realized this is a huge expense that I'm not really ready to actually pay. So Trailblazers had to come down, and I am working on getting it up again in a specific place, maybe as a PDF. More info on that will be coming later on. So if you wanted to read it, I apologize for not having it ready. So as for what's coming up next, obviously more videos. I'm trying my best to get a video out a week. It may not be like, every 7 days, but at the very least a video a week. That's my goal for this year with this YouTube channel. And I'm just going to go all through the gamut. I'm going to talk about my experiences through Trailblazers Men's Mission, what I learned. I'm going to talk about different topics that relate to my artistic journey, and I'll talk about other things too, like things that I like, things that I drew a lot of inspiration from, things that got me really hyped about pursuing my art again, and things that kind of kept my creativity and passion high during the moments when I couldn't really create as much. Last year was a big example of that. And that's pretty much it. That's a big life update. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one. And if you want to see where I end up going with this journey of mine, what's next for me, and if you are interested in what has already happened, because I'll be telling some stories about that, please subscribe and like if you like the video. I really appreciate it. And for my subscribers who I have not talked to in a very long time, I'm curious how life's been for you, what you've been up to, what you've been doing. You can leave all of that in the comments down below. And if you're not subscribed, you can still let me know. I'm curious. I'll always be curious and interested. I am excited for Pokemon Day coming up this week. I do not know what's going to be announced. I have not been keeping up with leaks or anything like that, so that's one thing I'm looking forward to. And if there's anything you're looking forward to this week, feel free to leave that in the comments down below. I'd be curious to see. And until next time, stay safe, stay happy, stay creative, and I'll talk to you later.